By now, you've listened to the session on how to load an action. This tutorial is on the Project Buddy. There are 3 more short sessions for you to watch after this: the Template Buddy, the Production Buddy, and customizing your palette. The Project Buddy was created to save you, the professional photographer, an enormous amount of post-production time in the studio. Simply open a background or a photo, and one simple click on your project is virtually completed. No more setup time required. LayerCake does it for you. Let's take a look at the action palette. Hopefully, you're in the button mode, learned in the previous session. I'm going to start at the top and discuss each category. I will first familiarize you with the various projects and then show you how these actions are performed. First, let's begin with the top red description bar. As you know from the previous session on loading actions, the way to identify the LayerCake palette is to look for the red bar. In this case, it's LayerCake Project Buddy. The category below in red is an important startup procedure for you to read. As I scroll down, you'll see that there are many README prompts in yellow. It's very important to read each prompt before beginning a project. Soon you'll be familiar enough with your action palette that the prompts won't be necessary. In some cases, there will be README stops in the action to assist you. Later in the session, I'll show you how to eliminate these stops. As previously noted, there are 4 buddy palettes. Each one is assigned a color to make it easy for you to access. As shown here, the Project Buddy is in blue with yellow category bars. The Template Buddy is in green with yellow category bars, and the Project Buddy is in gray with yellow category bars. The Font Buddy is a separate style palette. The only exception to this is the purple row of often used general actions that I will familiarize you with later in the tutorial. Let me tell you why the Project Buddy is so amazing. No doubt many of you photographers purchase templates, and why not? It saves you valuable production time. Unfortunately, these templates and backgrounds are also provided to your fellow photographers. Why not break away from the pack with some amazing one-of-a-kind LayerCake signature backgrounds? When you open a background of your choice and perform the action, the background resizes itself and automatically fits into your project. I'm going to go over some of the prompts. The yellow category bars will describe to you the following, such as prompting you to first open a background or photo before performing the action. Also described on the yellow bar is the orientation of the background, vertical or horizontal. It's really very simple. Just follow those prompts and click on the action. Let's scroll down and take a look at the various projects. LayerCake has chosen the most popular sizes: 8 by 20, 10 by 20, 12 by 24, and 14 by 22. You can choose one of the many horizontal backgrounds, use one of your own, or use a vertical background by rotating it into a horizontal position. In the Project Buddy, let's go over some of the categories we'll be touching upon. Those include albums, the ultimate business card, portraits, CD jewel cases, DVD label, sign-in board, Model Z card, marketing postcards, reading cards, stationery, and posters. As an example, I've picked a children's background at a size of 12 by 24. If you'd like to resize, click Ctrl-T on a PC, and on a Mac, Command-T. When opening a background, almost every action in the Project Buddy has green guidelines just inside of the outer perimeter of the spread, as seen here. Always design your project within those guidelines. If you exceed those guidelines, the edges that may be important could end up on the cutting room floor. In other words, they could be trimmed off by the lab or album manufacturer. Let's talk about albums. As noted here, a horizontal background must first be opened. If you have a vertical, use the rotate button and flip it into a horizontal position. Always open the README. Let's open a 10 by 20. There is a stop in the action giving you instructions. Let's read it. It tells you that the background can be resized to fit. It also tells you that there are transparency actions that are available and that the background should be flattened. I mentioned the purple row of often used general actions. Let's scroll down and use some of them. Here, I'll use transparent and I'll flatten the layer. Pretty simple, huh? A horizontal background is required. This 5 by 5 inch, 4-sided business card or marketing folder offers you 18 template openings to show your range of work. List your achievements, pricing, available products, testimonials, and brag about the range of your specialties. You can change the info at any time. Let's open a horizontal background. We'll work on the front and back side first. I'll click the Side 1 action. As you can see, there's an overlay with written suggestions. Simply go to your layer palette and click the eye to remove the layer. Drag in each photo and resize into each opening. Here's an example. Next, let's work on the inside left and right. This is labeled Side 2 in the Action palette. Let's open the same background, and as you can see, the written suggestions want you to turn off the layer. Here's an example of the finished project. Portrait. Let's open a portrait. As you can see, the yellow bar indicates background required. Either a horizontal or a vertical will do. I've chosen 11 by 14 under the portrait action. Once again, there's a stop in the action. Always read it. Once you are familiar with all the actions, the stops can be eliminated. Here's a sample of what it will look like. Later we'll go into detail on how to create this in the Template Buddy tutorial. Let's open the jewel case. As you can see, the background has to be resized. I'll transform the selection to fit. Control-T for PC or Command-T for a Mac. You'll see the green guidelines. Always design within those guidelines. If you go outside those guidelines, the info could end up on the cutting room floor. Let's take a look at the image size. 5.25 by 5.25 at a 300 dpi. Always remember to scroll down and flatten the layers under the general actions. As noted on the yellow bar, a photo is required. Let's first open a photo. Click the action and the photo appears within the template. Take your Move tool and move the photo to fit within the round template. Be sure to avoid the center hole. Now click off the template layer and use your action to flatten the layers. Don't bother to cut it out. The label machine automatically does the cutting. Let me show you the finished sample. First, open a background or a photo and click the DVD case action. The background is now inside the template. Remove the text layer. Now I'm going to resize by using Control-T on a PC and on a Mac, Command-T. Next, I'll navigate down to the general actions and flatten the layer. As seen here, the front is on the right side and the back is on the left side. Design within the green guidelines. The center is the spine. Once you open a background and flatten it, you can drag and place a photo onto the right side or the front, as I'm doing here. You can just open a photo and use the entire photo for the cover. Don't forget to remove the text layer and flatten. You can now add text. Here is a finished example. This card has many AKAs, known as a comp card, also called a composite card, Z card, Z card, and a model card. In any event, it's a marketing tool used for actors and models. They serve as the latest and best of a model's portfolio and are used as a business card that oftentimes is sent to various modeling agencies. Featured in the palette is some of the most popular sizes photographers use. Here's an example of a 5 by 8 with 3 openings. Open the background first. Not too busy, keep it simple. Here I have a plain background from our traditional series, and we'll click on the action 8.5 by 5.5 matte with 3 openings. Now let's drag 3 photos into place. If the photo is on top of the frame, as it is here, I'll click on the Send to Back action. When you're done adding photos, flatten the layers and begin to add the specs. Here is an example of an 8x10 front. Next, we'll create the 8x10 front with a 1-inch border, and the back will have 4 openings. Let's first open the front, and I'll choose a plain traditional background. We'll click the first action, and a 1-inch frame opens. Now let's drag the photo in. You may want to resize it. As you can see, the photo sits over the frame. Scroll down to the purple General Actions and click Send to Back, and resize the photo if needed. Change the name in the text layer. Flatten the layers and begin to add specs. Now let's open the back side. Here's an example of the back 8x10 with 4 mats and statistics. Let's create one. This is really a time saver. Open a background and click Back 4 Mat Openings. Now drag in the photos and hit Send Backward. As you can see, here on a separate layer are statistics like height, weight, and so on. Just fill it in. Since it's on its own layer, you can change it as you please. You can choose from a variety of templates, including one with 5 openings. A sign-in board is usually mounted on a foam board and placed on an easel for guests to sign in. This action has an 11x14 or a 16x20 image with a 3 and 4-inch border for the guests to sign. Used for weddings, showers, and other events. Open the photo first, navigate to the toolbar, and at the bottom, select the color of frame you want. There's a small 2-sided arrow with 2 small windows below. Double-click on the top window, and the color picker window will open. Choose the color. Keep it light in color since the guests will be writing on it. I like light gray. Now let's click on the 11x14 action. And as you can see, the photo virtually resizes itself and automatically fits into the frame. I'll reposition the photo and flatten it. Now it's ready for signatures. Here are some examples of marketing postcards. All the backgrounds must be opened in vertical orientation. Let's open a horizontal background, and I'll simply scroll down to the purple General Actions and rotate the background to the vertical position. Now let's open a 6x9 card. I'll resize it, and if the transformation bars are not visible, hit Ctrl-0 on a PC or Command-0 for Mac. Then flatten it. You can use the same action to achieve invitations such as these. Canvas wraps are gaining popularity. What's nice about these wraps, a frame is not necessary, and the look is terrific. There are 2 size frames, the standard that has a frame thickness of 3.5 and is primarily used for the smaller size wraps. The larger size canvas require heavier and thicker frames, the Pro with a 4.5 thickness. They are used primarily with wraps larger than 16x20. Use only a vertical image with the vertical wrap and a horizontal image with the horizontal wrap. Here, I'll open a vertical image and perform the 16x20 action. As you can see, the image sizes itself and automatically fits into the project. Let's resize the image and move it around by using Command-T on a Mac and Control-T on a PC. Keep your important information within the green lines. Anything beyond those guidelines will wrap around the edges of the frame. Now that I'm finished, it's important to flatten the layers. Sometimes I wrap the entire photo around the frame. Just simply open a vertical background and choose your project size. Here's an example of a poster that I created for a client. What's a green screen? People, most oftentimes high school seniors, are photographed against a green screen backdrop and then are removed from the background as seen here. Then you can drag, drop, and place. LayerCake always stays ahead with the latest trends. Let's take a look at a variety of some of these signature backgrounds when used with layered photos. These two high school kids are dragged and dropped into the Edgy or Hollywood and Senior Background series. Another example is these children that I dropped into our Kitty Pop series. And last example, this model I dragged into the Eclectic series.